Gukesh had a spectacular run, and he had a great form from the Olympiad itself, and getting 9.5 out of 10 is a spectacular score. And now he is actually playing against one of his Indian teammates, Indian counterparts, and now I mean, you have to face them. Otherwise, in candidates, I mean, no one can be your friend. You're just playing against the black pieces or the white pieces. You're not playing against any person, and that's what you have to keep in mind, because only that way you can try to give your best. And now he's facing against with the white pieces with Gujarati, and he faced him in the first round. They both drew the game very quickly, but now he's facing him with the black pieces. So let's see what Gukesh can do in this position. So here, without further ado, let's start with this game. Here, Gukesh with it goes for e4, and we have e5 by Gukesh. We have knight to f3, knight to c6, and bishop to c4. We go into the Italian game, and you could continue with a move like bishop to c5 with the Gioco piano, but here just knight to f6 for spade. We have d3, now going for just a6, and a6 is definitely a nice modern bishop's opening. It just castle, you play h6. h6 is a very nice move. I mean, definitely throwing Vidit off of his preparation, playing out these moves, and not going for bishop to c5. I mean, you could technically go for this, but here after knight bd2, it's easy. I mean, you know the theory, everyone knows the theory. You go c3, you go castle, bishop to b3, h6, you play rook to e1, bishop to e6, and h3. So the idea is just to throw Vidit off of his preparation. So here after castles, h6 was played, but now just comes a4 immediately by Vidit, and now bishop to c5. Now finally developing that bishop, we have bishop to e3 and just d6 now. And you could trade and try to ruin my pawn structure, but I think it would only give me more control towards the d4 square. So here just knight bd2 was played, and now castles by castles by Gukesh, and in this position just c3 was played. You could go for a move like h3 in this position. Seems decent. I mean, you would want to actually not allow the bishop to jump in, and after rook to e8 you play a knight to h4, and knight is definitely going to be a very strong piece on the f5 square. And after knight to d4 you play c3, pushing the knight back, knight to e6, knight to f5, and after this bishop captures on e3, f captures, you play c6, and after this there would be some trouble towards the d5 square. Yes, you can push it yourself, but I don't think so that would be a good idea right now. But I mean, there are a lot more moves that you can play. You can play bishop to a2 in this position, you can play queen to f3, everything is fine here. But after castles here, c3 was played immediately by Vidit, and now just comes this rook to e8, b4, and now he's definitely trying to push towards the queen side. So either you can make a decision to trade right now, or I mean, I think a passive move like that, I don't think so anyone is going to go for. So you could trade, or you could just move it back, but I guess then you just ruin your pawn structure towards, and that too you're just capturing not towards the center, and that's never a good idea. So here just bishop caps on e3 was played. We have f captures, bishop to e6, and just b5. And although you could trade here a captures, but the thing is that you'd be trading pieces for no reason, because after rook captures you play queen captures, and after bishop caps on c4, knight captures, you play knight to b8. So when you have to go for knight to b8, why not just go ahead right now here instead of trading all the pieces, and you can keep the tension on the board. You can try to win this game. So that's exactly what Gukesh does. Gukesh goes for knight to b8, and seems like a passive move, but you want to remaneuver the knight to d7 later. So here just bishop caps on e6 was played. We have rook captures, and I mean, you could technically go for this, as we see in a lot of these lines, but the thing is that you do get a massive center, but on the other hand, your king is still in the center and your rook is not on the f file. You want the rook on f file. That's why you capture that, because you want the rook to remain there, and then you can maybe just start an attack, maybe just do something, maybe just play knight to h5 and maybe do something with the open f file. But if white has an open f file, then why would you want to go for this? So here just rook caps on e6 was played, queen to c2 and knight bd7. Here just d4, and now just comes queen to e8, rook a to e1, and just a captures was played, a captures, rook to a5, and now you're targeting the pawn. Do you save it with a move like c4? And yes, it does. It goes for c4 in this position, and here just queen to e8 was played by Gukesh, and Gukesh is now getting a decent position now, because Vidit is not playing absolute perfect moves, and it's not like Gukesh is winning, but he does have some decent position. There does have some decent moves. So here knight to b1 could be played. I mean, there are a lot of moves in this position. You can go for this knight to b3, but h3, the move that was played, now it seems like a bit of passive move, and it's the third best move recommended by the engine, and it's still fine. But the thing is that it gives Gukesh a little bit of a counter activity, because here just rook to e8. Now you can see that all of these moves are coming. Here Gukesh is thinking that maybe I can get in with the queen, get the queen out of the way, and maybe just double up towards the a file, and might have a decent position. Here just king to h2, just a nice prophylactic move, always useful. b6, but now just comes rook to f2, rook to a2, attacking the queen, queen moves, and now just going for rook to a3, again attacking the queen, queen goes all the way back to b1, now queen to a4, and now just comes knight to h4, and position is still fine. I mean, it's only 1.1, it's not that much of a bad position, but here Vidit has to be very careful, because one mistake and his entire position could crumble. Here rook to a8 was played as planned, doubling up towards the a file. Now queen just needs to get out of the way, and here just knight to f5 was played by Vidit. king to f8 in this position, and now just comes rook to f1. He played all of these moves spectacularly, because you can see that if you make a mistake, like you get a bad position, I mean by engine evaluation, if you get a bad position like 1.1, 1.3, 1.5, you have to play like rest of the moves absolute engine like, and to be able to survive the game, because one mistake and your entire position could collapse. And till here Vidit is doing absolutely fine. A rook to e2 was played by Gukesh, and hey, just queen caps on a1 would have been fine. I don't think so there is any issues with queen caps on e1. Queen to d3 is also a very nice move, but the thing is that you don't want to trade more pieces here in this position. That's exactly right about it, because here after that rook comes in, and I think your position just could be really bad. So here, I mean, engine is giving it his queen caps on e1, but let's see, it just queen to d3, keeping the queens on the board. I mean, sometimes the engine evaluations can be a little bit shaky, because you have to understand that engines see a lot more line than we do, but again, you would want to keep the queens on the board when you have a bad position. So that's what Vidit is doing, and that's perfectly natural. It is queen to b4 was played. Now just comes rook captures, and in this position there is a very crucial move that you have to play, which is queen to c2, to be able to survive this game. And after g6, now knight is pushed back. You play knight caps on h6 with a check. King moves knight to g4. You play knight caps on g4, and h captures, and it seems like you're opening up the h file, but the thing is that there is nothing I can just put my king on g3. My position is absolutely fine. I mean, I am worse, but the thing is that there could be some ways that I can survive this game. But after rook caps on e1, c5 was played, and c5 does not work in this position and is an absolute blunder. So I'm going to ask you to pause the video, try and find out the only winning move in this position that wins the game right on the spot for Gukesh. Have at it. So congratulations to everyone who's able to find this move. The move is b captures on c5, and why it works is simply because here is nothing you can do. You cannot recapture. If you recapture here in this position, then your entire position just completely fall apart. Simply because the thing is that if you recapture here, knight captures, and you have only one square. And once rook comes to a2, the pin is intact. Just look at the amount of spaces my rook and the queen will be coming up, and this is also a threat. Once the knight moves, the knight is pinned. Next, this is coming because the knight is pinned, and yeah, your position just completely collapses. And that's why engine is giving it a +3 valuation. That's because of the fact that positionally my position is basically saying that I'm a piece up. So that would be really terrible if you go for it. But hey, just knight to c4 was played, trying to do something, but yeah, this just doesn't work. A queen to e1 immediately by Gukesh, and you can see that there are some ideas of getting checkmated in this position for the white king. And here rook to e2, but just queen to g1 check, king to g3, and knight to h5 check. And here just knight to h4, king to h4 was played, but just knight d to f6, and defending everything. And now the queen is jumping in next. What are you going to do? Either you get checkmated here, but I mean, there is nothing better here. Just knight caps on h6 was played, trying to do something, because then g5 was coming. But now just comes queen to h2, and I mean, there is no hope in this position. Here just knight to f5 was tried, but just comes now rook to f1, and I mean, no matter what you do in this position, you're just getting checkmated. Here g4 was played to try and do something, I don't know what, but just rook captures on f5. And now the idea is very simple. E captures was played. Here queen to g3 check was played, and now just comes king to h5. And in this position, here Gukesh goes for the final blow. He goes for this very nice, sacrificing an entire piece for checkmate, which is this knight to h7 check. And with it in this position, on just move 38, resign the game, because there is nothing you can do. There are no more squares left. Where do you even go here in this position? I mean, you cannot go here, you cannot go here. Only move is this, and once you capture, I mean, this is going to be basically checkmate. So there is nothing you could do. And after this, I mean, after that very beautiful knight to h7 checkmate, sacrificing a piece, he resigned the game. And a spectacular victory by Gukesh. Gukesh is now a very has a very decent score here in this position. He has 5 out of 7 now. That's a spectacular score as far as candidates is concerned. And I mean, he's just winning games, and even if he's able to draw the rest of the games, or maybe just win a few games and not lose the games, I think he can still qualify. So that's going to be absolutely spectacular. And I mean, I'm speaking from the perspective of that we have not seen the rest of the games, but obviously we know who became the world champion. So I mean, this was a spectacular game by Gukesh. I mean, he played this, he got the advantage, he capitalized on it, and he didn't let Vidit go off the hook. And finally, he was able to convert this to a win with this beautiful checkmate that could have appeared on the board, but Vidit resigned. Thank you all for watching. I'll be coming back with games like these, so stay tuned to the channel, stay updated, and I'll be seeing you guys very soon. Thank you very much for watching.